In this video, I will talk about playful, curious, and oh so unpredictable Gemini, and will give you 5 tips on how to attract one. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you like my work, please take just a few seconds of your time to show your appreciation by leaving a like or a comment, subscribing, and pressing the notification bell. It helps. Feels like it's small, but it really helps. And if you want to show your support even more, you can buy me a coffee and say thank you by doing that. I appreciate that as well. Before we dive in, quick announcements. If you like astrology and you want me to look at your chart, you have important questions, and you feel like you need extra guidance, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. It is always a great time, but especially great time around your birthday or, around New Year's or around some kind of like big personal event. So in this video, we're talking about Gemini. I recommend that you listen for Sun, Moon, Rising, but also Venus and Mars, because Venus represents attraction and what we find attractive. So if you're thinking about attracting someone, attracting a Gemini, if they have a Gemini Venus, that would fit even better. And then Mars represents sexual energy, what we desire, how we stand apart, what turns us on. So definitely listen for Mars as well. So we're talking about Gemini. Gemini is a mutable air sign. It is a young masculine sign, and it is a Mercury ruled sign. It's also the sign that comes at the turning of the season. It's the final sign of spring, and that is actually part of the duality of the sign, right? That whole they are right on the border of spring and summer. And then they're ruled by Mercury, which is the planet that moves the fastest besides the moon, right? Like Mercury sometimes rises before the sun in the morning. Sometimes it rises in the evening after sunset. Mercury goes retrograde. It's sort of very changeable. And so the fact that Gemini is ruled by Mercury is very much representative of their changeable nature, of their social, of their curious, of their chatty nature. And then of course, because it's a young Mercury, it's a lot more about exploring the variety of options, right? Versus in Virgo, we have a yin Mercury, which is a lot more about narrowing things down and getting to the core, to the truth of the matter. So how can you attract a Gemini, right? The sign that changes their mind, that depends on the moods, that is very kind of rational and sometimes flirtatious, sometimes non-committal. So tip number 1, brush up on the news. Gemini is the sign ruled by Mercury. They know everything. To be honest, they know a little bit about everything, right? Gemini will know a variety of topics. Virgo, I think it's a really good comparison. Virgo will dive deep. So I'm a Virgo, and I'm really deep into astrology. I know a lot about it. And if I like something, I will dive really, really deep. But Gemini will know a little bit about everything. They are always up to date on the current events. And if you want them to like you, if you want them to connect with you, you want to keep up. So striking a conversation about a book, about political figure, and showing that or if they bring it up and they want to talk to you about it and you don't kind of know anything about it, this might be a little bit disappointing. So you want to get ahead, right, by kind of getting ready. Tip number 2, make them laugh. They appreciate playful banter. So this comes to me, I think, once again from Mercury ruling Gemini and them wanting to keep things light, right? A lot of times they might not show you the true depth of their feeling. Of course, depends a lot on other placements and your compatibility with them. If you want a compatibility reading, go to my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. I can look at your charts together. But Gemini is Mercury ruled. They wanna keep things moving. They want to keep things airy, keep things light. It's also Gemini's sister signs with Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius is the opposite of Gemini. It's that like jokester, humorous, funny, fiery, passionate sign. So like the more you can keep things light and funny, the more they will like you. Tip number 3, show your intelligence and ask questions. Make sure that you're not keeping the conversation dead. Make sure you're not just talking about yourself. Ask them. Let them talk sometimes. And it's funny because I'm a Gemini moon. My boyfriend is a Gemini sun. And he talks a lot, but I talk a lot too. I'm like a Virgo Gemini. Thankfully, I get to talk to you guys. But he lets me talk. It's not just, it's getting better. He's kind of good at adapting. But like, as a Gemini moon, I need to talk. So we've run into situations in the past where like he'd be talking for a really long time because his Mercury is actually in Cancer. So he like tells longer stories. And I would tell him, I would be like, I need to talk. Like, I've been listening for a really long time. I'm gonna burst. So you want to make sure that you can talk. Read up some conversation starters. If you pull them on your phone, they might appreciate you doing research, right? Being ready, being prepared. So definitely ask them questions. Don't just be the one who like grabs the mic and talks the entire time. Pay attention, listen to when they're answering your questions. Don't just like sit there and be like, when is it my time to talk? Tip number 4, give them space. Don't be all over them. Air signs need space. If you give them space, they come closer to you. That is the truth for air moons, air suns, air Venuses. Don't text them a million times. Give them time to text you back. Avoid being jealous. Avoid being possessive. They might let you do it as you get closer to them early on. But still, I don't think jealousy or possessiveness is ever a sign of security in a relationship. See, I think these guys agree. So they're never really good signs for feeling secure in a relationship, but with air signs especially, right? You want to show that you trust them. You want to let them miss you. You want them to kind of come back to you. Don't like push things. And tip number 5, engage in sexting or dirty talk. Ruled by Mercury, they get turned on by words. So sending them quirky, kinky messages, they might get more excited. Of course, test the waters, see if they're into it, but they might really enjoy keeping things a little bit like spicy, and they might get excited by, I think a lot of times they get excited by the idea of sex, maybe even more than the sex itself. And also like when you get to that place, keep it different, keep it varied. They might be like very open-minded to doing a lot of different things, to like trying a lot of different things. I think especially Gemini Mars, very like sapiosexual, turned on by intellect, not so much your gender. Very much try anything at least once. Very like interesting mercurial sign. Let me know how this resonates. If you are a Gemini, you have anything to add, please do so down below. But keep in mind that this will vary based on your Mars, your Venus, other signs in your chart. But it should be a good starting point for attracting a Gemini into your life. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.